Key concept. Two proportional quantities, x and y, are related by a constant multiple, called the constant of proportionality, and we use the letter k to designate that. You can represent a proportional relationship using the equation y equals k times x. Now we're going to work through questions 4, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13, and number 16 on the pages in your book. Once we've worked through those problems, then you should be ready to move on to your Math Excel assignment. First, let's take a look at question 4. Determine whether each equation represents a proportional relationship. If it does, identify the constant of proportionality. So remember, we're looking for those equations, A, B, and C, to be in the form y equals k times x. That form of the equation tells us that we do have a proportional relationship. When you see this equation, what operation do you notice is included? And what operations are not included? So first thing that I notice is I have a k and an x next to each other. What operation would go here between the letters k and x? If you said multiply, you would be correct. So in the form of the equation y equals kx, we are looking for it to fit with multiplication. And what operations we don't see are the operations addition or subtraction. Now remember, even though I don't see division there, we can show division as multiplication by the reciprocal. So we do use multiplication sometimes even when the problem is division. So now examine equation A for number 4. Y equals 5/10 x minus 2. Does this fit the form of our equation y equals k times x? No, it does not. What do you notice is different about this equation in part A compared to our equation for a proportional relationship, y equals kx? Do you see the subtraction? When you see that subtraction, that tells us we do not have a proportional relationship. Now look at part B. Y equals 1000x. Does this fit the idea of a proportional relationship? Does it match the equation y equals kx? And the answer is yes. Do you see the multiplication here? 1000 times x. So what is that k number? What is that constant of proportionality? And for this equation, k equals 1000. It's the number being multiplied by x. And last, take a look at letter C. Y equals x plus 1. Does this represent a proportional relationship? And the answer is no. What do you see there that makes it so it's not proportional? Do you see the addition? Yeah, that plus 1 means that it is not a proportional relationship. Now let's work through questions 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13 on page 107. Question number 9. The equation P equals 3s represents the perimeter P of an equilateral triangle with a side length s. Is there a proportional relationship between the perimeter and the side length of an equilateral triangle? Explain. Well, let's examine that equation. P equals 3s. Does it fit the equation of a proportional relationship where we wrote y equals k times x? And the answer is yes. In this case, there is multiplication only between the 3 and the s, and every time you take the side length times 3, which is the equilateral triangle sides, you get the perimeter. So in this case, what is that constant of proportionality? For this equation, K equals 3. Now take a look at question 10. In a chemical compound, there are 3 parts zinc for every 16 parts copper by mass. A piece of a compound contains 320 grams of copper. Write and solve an equation to determine the amount of zinc in the chemical compound. So we have 2 things to do here. We're going to write and we're going to solve for the amount of zinc. But the first thing that we have to do is define that relationship between zinc and copper. So first, find the unit rate to help us define how much zinc is required for 1 part of copper. Now, this will be a decimal number. I divided 3 by 16 to get 1,875 10,000ths. Now I need to use that information in an equation, y equals k times x, but in this case, that y equals k times x, let's use a z for zinc and a c for copper. And the k value is the unit rate. Oh, let's not use a K for copper. Let's use a C for copper. That would make more sense, wouldn't it? Now I want to determine the amount of zinc in the compound if I use 320 grams of copper. So I'm going to replace the C in this equation with the number 320 and multiply it by that constant of proportionality. So what happens when I take 1,875 10,000ths times 320? And I get 60 parts of zinc for every 320 grams of copper. Now let's take a look at question 11. The weight of 3 eggs is shown. Assuming the 3 eggs are all the same weight, find the constant of proportionality. In other words, what is the unit rate for each egg? Well, if all 3 of them weigh 120 grams, how much does each egg weigh? That will be our constant of proportionality, or K. In this case, the weight of each egg would have to be 40 grams. Now I'd like for you to try question 12. Pause the video while you're working, and then come back and check part A before moving on to part B. First, look for that unit rate. The height of a stack of DVD cases is proportional to the number of cases in the stack. The height of 6 DVD cases is 114 millimeters. So the first thing I want you to do is find the height of each DVD case. So find the unit rate out of 1. In this problem, each DVD case is 19 millimeters tall. So now we're going to substitute the 19 into the equation y equals kx in order to write an equation that relates the height of the stack to the number of cases. So in this case, the total height, y, of that stack of DVD cases is equal to 19 millimeters for each case times x, which is the number of cases in the stack. Part B says, what would be the height of 13 DVD cases? If each DVD case is 19 millimeters in height, then that means the height of 13 cases would be 19 times 13. Or 247 millimeters. Now try number 13. Anne's car can travel 228 miles on 6 gallons of gas. A. Write an equation to represent the distance, y, in miles, Anne's car can travel on X gallons of gas. B. Anne's car used 7 gallons of gas during the trip. How far did Anne drive? Finding the unit rate tells us that Anne's car can travel 38 miles on 1 gallon of gas. This is our K number. So now we're going to use that K number to write our equation in the form y equals K times X, where y is the total distance in miles, and that's equal to 38 miles times X, which is the number of gallons of gas. Now use the information in part B, 7 gallons, to determine how far did Anne drive. Anne drove 266 miles on 7 gallons of gas. And last but not least, let's take a look at question 16 on page 108. Number 16. For every 10 sheets of stickers you buy at a craft store, the total cost increases $20.50. An equation that relates the number of sheets purchased, X, so that's the sheets of stickers purchased, and the total cost, Y, of the stickers is Y equals what times X. So the first thing that we need to do is find the unit rate. What is the cost of 1 sheet of stickers? The unit rate is $2.05 for 1 sheet of stickers. That's our K number. Okay. Now we're going to use that information in order to solve the problems here and use that equation to find what goes in these boxes in the table. So in other words, what's my total cost for 3 sheets of stickers? How many sheets of stickers can I get for $10.25? How many sheets of stickers can I get for $26.65? And what is my total cost for 19 sheets of stickers? Try that now on your paper and come back and check your table when you're finished. Check your answers in the table. Ask questions if you still need help. And if you're all finished, you're ready to move on to your assignment.